Public meeting for July 6, 2021. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then Father John will offer us a prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, we give you thanks this night. We thank you for the country in which we live, the state, and our town of Cedar Lake. Lord, we ask your Spirit to be upon our government leaders as they discuss the various plans and activities before them. May they always be guided by your almighty hand, and may what they decide and implement always be to your greater glory and that of this town. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Father John.
You're welcome.
I've missed that when it's not when we don't have a member of the clergy here. So.
Well, I have to be honest, since February, I've either had church services or diaconate classes on Tuesdays.
Understood.
I finished last Tuesday, and I said I'm here.
But it's great to have you back. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
John Foreman. Unmute yourself.
Present.
Julie Rivera. Here. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Richard Sharp.
Here.
Randy Niemeyer.
Present.
I am present. Rick Everly.
Present.
David Austin.
Present.
We have a quorum. Start with public comment on agenda items. If you have public comment on agenda items, come forward, state your name and address for the record. Public comment on agenda items. Public comment is closed. Our consent agenda is the minutes of the June 15th, 2021 meeting. Use requests. Cedar Lake Historical Association is requesting a waiver to serve alcohol at a speakeasy fundraising event on August 13, 2021. Tag Day request, Hanover Junior Wildcat Football and Cheer Program on 7/24/2021 and a rain date of 7/31. Claims all town funds $283,894.58. Wastewater operating $73,245.32. Water utility $22,935.10. Stormwater $27,274.59. And payroll of $624, 7/1 and 7/2, $258,292.45. Is there a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda as listed? Motion by Ms. Rivera. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion?
Yes. On the claims, I saw 3 different places where we purchased Mugabug 55-gallon drum 3 times in different positions at $582.44 for a total of $1,747.32. Was that for one 55-gallon drum? All those 3 prices?
It was one invoice split between 3 different funds.
Okay, and how long does that 55-gallon of bug spray last?
I have no idea about. I think that's only like a once every couple of years, so.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
Right, I was just curious.
I would have to check into that. I don't know the answer, but I think it lasts for a couple of years, so.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Robert Carnahan.
I'm going to go ahead and vote no due to the fact that I got the minutes at 4:41 and haven't had a chance to look at them.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-1. Ordinances and resolutions. Item 1 is ordinance 1388, amending the 2021 salary ordinance. Mr. Sharp, by title only, Sandberg, explanation, please.
Ordinance number 1388, an ordinance amending town salary ordinance number 1370, establishing jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town of Cedar Lake for the calendar year 2021, and repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict therewith.
Thank you. Ms. Sandberg?
Council, as part of many ongoing discussions that have occurred these last few months, this is a salary amendment specifically within the general fund, within the fire department. This is to increase the salaries of the battalion chief / EMT, the EMS division chief, the captain firefighter paramedic, firefighter paramedic, firefighter EMT, and the probationary firefighter paramedic. For the battalion chief EMT, EMS division chief, and captain firefighter paramedic, this is an approximate increase of 11%. For the firefighter paramedic, it's an approximate increase of 11.2%. For the firefighter EMT, it's an approximate increase of 15%. And for the position of probationary firefighter paramedic, it is an approximate increase of 12.1%.
Thank you. I'll comment that this has been torn apart, put back together, torn apart, put back together numerous times. There's been a lot of intervention by our financial advisors, and this is something that we've been struggling with for, well, really since we brought the fire department on in 2013, trying to get to that point of being competitive. Not necessarily being number one, but being to the point where we can hopefully retain the talent that we have. Some of them sitting in the back of the room now. We've had a lot of turnover, and that's never healthy, and it's not cheap to have people that you train and then move on to other communities. So definitely one of these things that's abnormal to do outside of the budget cycle, but John, can you mute yourself? We got a lot of background noise. Thank you. So it's taken a lot of work. It's not been done with any haste. So I'm pretty happy that this is in front of us tonight and that we can feasibly and affordably make this move and work with this as part of our overall sustainability plan to continue to beef up our public safety services. Chief Fisher came to the council last year with something similar and an idea, and we've made strides in the police department as well. There's always more work to do, and I'm sure we'll be in our budget season here discussing ways to continue to move forward once again. So I'm pleased to see this in front of us, and hopefully this gets a favorable nod from the council. Okay, we've heard the reading of Ordinance 1388, a salary ordinance amendment for 2021. Is there a motion to approve first reading?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Is there a motion to suspend the rules, allow for a second reading?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp,
Second.
second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Second reading, ordinance 1388. Mr. Sharp, by its title, please.
Ordinance number 1388, an ordinance amending town salary ordinance number 1370, establishing jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town of Cedar Lake for the calendar year 2021, and repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict therewith.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. You've heard the second reading of ordinance 1388. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance 1388 is adopted.
Thank you very much, Council. Appreciate it for my guys as well. I'm sure that, if they had an opportunity to speak, they would right now. And thank everybody too.
Now, let's hope
So,
that this helps to
Jennifer as well.
change the momentum.
I hope so. We stopped the bleeding for a while.
Yep.
It's
Much appreciated, very much appreciated. I
The
know there's a
employment-
lot of hard work in it, Council. Jennifer especially, she did a lot of background stuff on it. I mean, it was really a very long process, but I think we'll be moving forward from here now.
I can speak from the perspective of an employer right now. I think anyone who has employees is focused on retention. I don't even know if I'm focused as much on recruiting as I am retention. It's all about keeping who we have
Yeah.
and trying to just trickle in the right people. And so it's a tough marketplace right now in employing people, but
We've
hopefully
lost
this
26 people in 5 years.
That's a lot. But thanks for your hard work on it too, Chief,
Yeah.
and sitting at the table and answering the hard questions. So not an easy
It's my
process
pleasure.
to get there.
Just for the community, my pleasure.
Thank you. Item 2 is Resolution 1284, authorizing a temporary loan for the 2017 RDA A, B, and C bonds in the amount of $90,049.83 from the wastewater treatment plant special fund number 633 to the 2017 RDA A, B, and C bond fund number 412. Mr. Sharp by its title. Ms. Sandberg, explanation.
Resolution 1284, a resolution authorizing a temporary loan for the 2017 RDA A, B, and C bonds of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana.
Thank you. Ms. Sandberg.
Council, if I may, I'd like to request to update the sum to be temporary loaned. I'd like to update it to $142,249.83. Upon review just a little while ago, I realized I made a typo in my initial calculations.
Can you read that number once again?
$142,249.83.
Please let the record reflect the updated number in Resolution 1284.
Thank you. So we received our spring settlement. We went ahead and we repaid the previous temporary loan for the 2017 A, B, and C bonds. The cash balance remaining is not enough to meet the lease rental payment that is due on the 15th of the month. So that's why the temporary loan is needed.
We're just trading money, buying time.
We'll repay it with the call settlement in
Yep.
December.
Got it. You've heard Resolution 1284 and an explanation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan,
A second.
second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julia Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. BZA Plan Commission, item 1 is acceptance of a letter of credit by People's Bank in the amount of $51,110.89 for Beacon Point Unit 3. Is everything in order on that letter of credit, Mr. Everly?
Yes, Mr. President, it is. This is a maintenance letter of credit to replace the performance letter of credit.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council for acceptance of the letter of credit as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carney, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julia Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries. Did you vote here or yes, John?
He said yes.
I said yes.
Okay. Motion carries 6-0. New business, item 1 is 2021-01 CCMG bid award, Fairbanks from 129th to 133rd Avenue. Mr. Everly.
Mr. President, happy to report that the low bidder came in about $17,000 less than the engineer's estimate for this project. I sent out the proposed project schedule today. It's a very short-term, no, I'm sorry, the one I sent out today was 133rd and King. But this is a very short-term project. think they have 30 days to do the project, and the engineer expects it to be even shorter than that. But it came in at low bidder came in at $188,503. And the bid estimate was $205,948.
Low bidder was Milestone Contractors North, formerly known as Walsh and Kelly.
Correct.
Question. We received $101,000 of community crossing grant, and so this is going to be less than that. So what happens the rest of the money?
It's a 50-50 grant. We'll get 50% of the bid.
Of this,
Yeah,
but
right.
the additional about $6,000, we lose that, right?
Right, yeah, we won't get 101, we'll get half of the 188,503.
Yeah, they haven't paid out this one yet, so they'll be recorded.
All right.
Is there a motion by the council to approve the bid award of $188,503 to Milestone Contractors
So
North?
moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan,
Second.
second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item 2 is a discussion item, Cedar Lake Dog Park at Kiwanis Park.
Right, just to bring you up to speed, Mr. President, that Tim and I have been working with TJ and Christopher Burke Engineering. He's come up with a drawing for us of what we were planning on doing in the Kiwanis Park. We're planning on having a 5-foot fence around the entire enclosure. Now, not in the entire park. We're just taking
It's
the
a section of the park,
Yeah,
correct?
like the west third maybe of the park. The front-facing fence along 137th will be the aluminum. It'll look like wrought iron, but the rest of the side and the back will be the black coated cyclone fence. But there will be 2 sections. One section for large dogs, 1 section for small. We will be getting pricing on the fencing pretty shortly. Cliff has gotten us some pricing for the fob system, because we're looking at having memberships for this. We're going to try to cover our costs naturally in putting this together. So he's got a cost for cameras. Tim has had some, one of those, the parking lot, you're improving the parking lot there.
Grindings there?
The grindings, yeah. that's-
Yeah, we're gonna bring it all the way across, since we're figuring that it's gonna be quite huge, so we took the millings from 129th and brought them to
I
that.
think there'll be tons of people there.
Yeah, so we figured we could extend that all the way across as well. You know, they were trucking it anyway, so we had to put it there.
Yeah.
To get it in there, so.
Tim's gonna reuse the shed that's on the property, somewhere else, gonna relocate that. So we'll have some more detail for you. We have the bones of rules and regulations, went out and looked at Dyer, St. John, Cherville, and county's regulations, and we're marrying them to our situation. So we have those in order. We just have to come up with a recommendation for the cost. It seems like everybody's got like maybe $25 for the first dog for a resident, $10 per dog thereafter, with a max of maybe 4 dogs per family. And then there's a non-resident rate too, typically, which is usually quite a bit higher. So we'll be coming up with a recommendation of the membership rates for you here in the next meeting or 2.
Thank you.
I know when I looked at Cherville's, their rates were pretty high for resident and non-resident. Is there any thought of just making this a resident dog park membership and not
You
having?
can certainly do that, because if you're gonna have memberships, you're gonna have a fob. You're gonna have to have a fob to get into the park, so it could be for residents only. That's your call, but the 4 that we looked at, they did have resident and non-resident rates. Good.
When I went to the Cherville one a couple times, I just went past it, they seemed like pretty packed with dogs, and I don't know how much smaller ours is going to be, but I'm leaning towards just resident patrons.
I have those have those dimensions here, Julie. It's
Pretty large area.
Yeah, it's a pretty large. I'm gonna I didn't grab that off the printer, but it's 200 feet by, I think it's 200 by 200 or close to that, Tim. So 40,000 square feet.
Seems like a lot.
And 2/3 is for the large dogs, and 1/3 would be for the smaller dogs. And I think 20 pounds, does that sound right, Tim? Is 20 pounds and heavier are large dogs, 20 and under. But we've got that, we're putting that together, so we can define that and come up with a cost for you, recommendation for a cost. So if you want to go town residents only, you can do that.
Yeah, that's just my first thought.
And we also have the drawing made to bid out the fence for around Town Hall. Also, when we're doing dog parks, we'll have some pricing on to replace that chain link fence with a 5-foot wrought iron fence around. I know Mr. Foreman was after that, but we have that ready.
If John was here tonight, he would probably be giving you a standing ovation.
We have it ready.
And all this will be paid for with the park impact fee money, by the way.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for that update. Next item for discussion is fire department billing for services. This came out of our discussions on how to sustain some wage and personnel growth in the fire department and not leaving opportunities for reasonable revenue raising off the table. And I had meant to bring with me my homeowner's insurance policy tonight because I just got an update, and there's still a $500 fee in there. I reviewed it that allows for billing up to that within this. I have State Farm, so it's a widely used company, which they're going to have the most typical usages. And I think that doing something that fits within those insurance parameters as we look for ways to sustain what we're trying to do here for public safety is necessary. Council discussion, Chief Welkening.
I just want to make it perfectly clear, this is just billing the insurance company.
Right.
There will be no homeowner bill direct. They won't get a bill for services. It'll be their insurance company. If for some reason it doesn't get paid, for some odd reason, we will not be going after the homeowner. That's my wishes in this whole thing.
And I think that's important too, that, it doesn't turn into a double taxation situation where folks are paying, taxes that are contributing to funding the fire department, and then they have to pay above and beyond their insurance.
And a lot of times we've destroyed our own, equipment on calls, and we're just trying to recruit those costs, like hose or something like that.
And from what I understand, it's built into just about every homeowner's policy.
It is,
At least
and
a phenomenal number.
Commercial is 1,000.
Dave, any comments?
No, it's your call. If you direct the ordinance to be drafted, I'll do it.
Council discussion, what are your feelings?
Do you have an estimate, Chief, about how much it would be over a year period?
Depends on what we bill for.
Sure.
If we bill for car crashes as well, and we follow that pattern like Lowell and Crown Point has, it could be up to $100,000 a year extra income. That's what they're bringing in. It's not just for fires, it would be for car crashes, any other incident with that we could, use materials and extended time for personnel.
Thank
So,
you.
I'm definitely in favor of this as long as it's within the parameters of insurance policies, kind of looking at the typical insurance policy and what it covers, as well as with the car crashes. It makes sense.
Yeah.
There's fewer and fewer opportunities to add revenue to fund public safety, and leaving money on the table that's already written into insurance is something that I don't think we can afford to do any longer.
Not any longer.
I don't want to see us.
Are we at a point that I can make a motion that I would want to do that?
Well, you can make a motion to direct the attorney that the ordinance be drafted,
Yes,
because it is on here as a discussion item, but there's also a section for a motion in a second. So if that's the motion you'd like to make, it's on the agenda, so you can do that, Ralph.
I would like to make that motion that to bill the insurance companies, and if the insurance companies don't pay, we don't go after them.
That's to direct the attorney to draft that ordinance?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Mr. Miller, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion on that motion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. I do have a question, though, about that ordinance. We have, obviously, a contract partner in Hanover Township. How does that ordinance impact township residents? Or is this valid only for town, or is it valid for any fire response call where the Cedar Lake Fire Department is the lead response agency on the call?
I'll draft it broad and include any response they make to the extent that it's applicable.
And we would treat the township residents the same way that if it's not within their insurance parameters, obviously we're not overcharging them either as contract partners.
They will be billed just like a resident of the town of Cedar Lake, serviced by the fire department would be billed for responding to a call.
Because I know that'll be a question.
Yeah.
Probably will.
I want to make sure that we're consistent across the board and that it can be applied across the board.
You can.
Okay.
You charge our rates across the township town boundary now. It's just another component of the fee structure.
Correct, we do for the ambulance, yep.
Yeah, the ambulance fees that we adopted get applied to anyone that
Yep.
utilizes that ambulance.
There's not a separate fee structure
Right.
for township service.
There isn't, nope.
Okay. All right, that answers my question. Item 4 is the Summerfest Tourism Funds request in the amount of $1,000. Mr. Eberly?
Now that we've received the innkeeper's monies, Mr. President, and we did receive those in full,
$4,725.
That's great.
The Summerfest committee has asked for a $1,000 donation.
A motion by the council, a request to Summerfest committee.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Motion by Ms. Rivera, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carnahan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. So that leaves $3,725, or have we pledged?
I think we pledged 1,000 to farmer's market earlier in the year, didn't we?
Okay, so then-
Did that come out of something else?
I don't think you ever made a motion.
I don't think we pledged it because we didn't know how much we
We
would
didn't
get.
know,
Yeah.
we talked about it, but we didn't know
You
what the
talked about
amount
it,
was
but
gonna be.
you didn't
Yeah.
officially,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
No, I think we did make a motion, and I think we voted on it.
I thought we did also.
I thought we did.
Yeah, I thought we did,
It was a contingent pledge based on,
when the money came in.
I think the one you did not pledge on was the music group that
Yeah.
wanted to come in. You discussed that and waited to see how much money you were gonna come get.
I will review the minutes,
Yes.
and I will
Yeah,
let you
please.
all know at the next meeting.
yeah, and then we need to get that official request of the, I think it was the Chamber of Commerce that actually was working with the music group, if I'm not mistaken. So we need to get something formulated on our next agenda for them.
Well, that's part of the discussion that we're having as the Parks Committee on Thursday of this week.
Right.
Trying to identify how we're gonna, well, that's not for the innkeeper's fund, that's for the $20,000 grant from.
Yeah, that's right, okay, yep.
South Shore Convention and Visitors
Yep,
Bureau.
okay, my memory is starting to come back to me now.
You know,
Thanks, Rick. It's good having friends. Item 5 is a memorandum of understanding between the town of Cedar Lake and Hanover Community School Corporation for a student resource officer. Mr. Everly.
And I'll probably defer to Chief Fisher, but I believe this is just looking at a renewal of an agreement we have with the school corporation now for this resource officer?
Yes, sir. Council, this is an identical MOU that was signed 3 years ago. The only thing that was changed was the dates and I think 2 signatures that had changed on the school side. The president, no, actually Mary's still the same. So 1 signature on the school side, the new president for the school board, so. And Jennifer, since Amy was in. So the MOU is identical. I didn't change anything except for the dates on it. The school is very happy with Sergeant Moak and the way things are running, and I think we are as well. So.
What's the percentage breakdown? Was it 75-25 or was it?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Cost considerations here on the last page.
I wanted to say that one was, if I remember right, when it was first adopted, that the school was picking up 75%, we were picking up 25%? Because we figured it was like 3/4 of the year, it was.
It's not in a percentage, it's based on the number of work days.
Got it.
They're at so it'll be there 190 days,
190, yeah.
similar to a teacher's contract.
Okay.
And Sergeant Moak did complete and is updated on his school resource trainings.
Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion?
Just that it should say school resource officer, not student resource officer.
Thank you for the correction of the record. Let the record reflect the correction.
Oh.
Ken,
It's not on the MOU though, right? It was
I don't think so, I think it's
that
just
was
on
okay.
the agenda.
Okay.
we
I have
also,
the actual MOU here that I'm gonna take to the school board for them to sign off, Mr. President, so.
okay. Let's just make sure we have also clarification on the financial commitment. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item 6 is memorandum of understanding between the Cedar Lake Police Department and LexisNexis CopLogic Solutions, Inc. Received a favorable recommendation from the Board of Safety, approval to authorize Chief Fisher to sign the contract. Chief Fisher.
LexisNexis is an online source for people to buy their crash reports. We used to receive all of the money in-house because they would have to come in and buy the crash report online or with us. We're finding the trend now that they are buying it online and we don't receive anything for it. If we sign the contract with them, then we get $10, I think, recouped back.
$8.
$8. That was $10, something like that. So we'll get a percentage back and it won't cost us anything just to get the money back. It's our crash report in the first place, so.
$8 is better than zero.
Yes. Yes.
Most, almost, what I know St. John is utilizing this and they're receiving funds from it, so.
Is there a motion by the council on the favorable recommendation of the Board of Safety for the memorandum of understanding between the Cedar Lake Police Department and LexisNexis CopLogic Solutions Incorporated?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Rivera,
Second.
second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item 7 is CBBEL 129th Avenue roadway and drainage improvements pay request number 1. Mr. Everly.
Yes, Mr. President, as you just mentioned, this is the first pay request for the 129th Avenue roadway and drainage improvements. Comes with a letter from Christopher Burke Engineering recommending the payment. $184,800.20 has been completed to date. Retainage is 10% of that, so the net is $166,320.18 that we're being asked to pay now. And this is, Jen, a CCMG project.
Yes.
Right. So we
50/50.
pay these out, and then we get reimbursed by the state, correct?
We have
At the end
already,
of the project.
we have already received,
That
our 50% of the CCMG, so I will confirm with Jill on the split, because normally she goes through all the fancy background paperwork, because I have no clue on, and we confirm, and we normally do each one a portion out of CCMG, and then we 50/50 it basically until we come down to that final
So
bill.
half of this is our cost in the end.
Okay. Is there a motion by the council?
So moved.
That's to approve?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Carney, is there a second?
I would second his motion.
Second by Mr. Foreman. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neimer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item 8 is another discussion item, Cedar Lake Historical Association Pier Slip Perpetual Use Request. We have Jimmy Log from the Cedar Lake Historical Association with us tonight. Floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, so something that didn't come up in all of our pier discussions is we were a little focused on just getting a pier for our upcoming event here, is that, you know, we do have the hope to permanently bring a boat in that we could use on a weekly basis. It would not be anywhere near the capacity or the size of the boat we're bringing out here, nor would it be powered by steam. This would be something that's much easier that we can use on a daily basis. So that wasn't at the forefront of our mind to actually ask for a slip incorporated into the pier for permanent use, but we do have a couple discussions going on that makes it look like we might actually be able to secure a boat for this type of use by spring next year. And so we're just wondering what your guys' concerns would be, or what it would look like, and hopefully, you know, our goal would be to secure a slip on the current pier so that we can dock it there. From the discussions I have with Julie, it'd actually be to keep it there on the secure side, and then we would also we'd load it from the public side whenever it was in use.
So I talked with Julie about this too, that it would be an electric boat, correct? So it would need access to power to be charged, correct?
Yes, so one of the boats is an electric boat, so it would need power. I think she talked to Brian Breeze about possibly getting power down there. I don't think that's a possibility. So we do have that hurdle to overcome with it, whether it's charging it somewhere else or using kind of like an inverter generator to charge it. So we're looking at a couple of those options.
And so what Julie had talked to me about was possibly using the, like Jimmy said, the secure side of it, and I said I would present that to you guys tonight as a place to dock it, but then to load it as part of their ongoing activities on the public side.
Well, the purpose of that extra slip that we put on the police, or the police side of it, was to bring boats in that people are pulled off the lake for. So that we're not taking the public side slip, so that's why we have the extra slip on the secure side.
No, we're not looking to take the extra slip.
The other thing was, I heard that you guys had talked about tying it up alongside the long strip of the pier itself, which was never designed for that, which is why it has no lugs or bumpers down there.
Yeah, no, she talked to Brian, and Brian suggested a lift, just sitting out there, since it wouldn't be loaded. I'm not a huge fan of that idea. I think it would be better to actually build out another slip, if possible.
Yeah, and basically the concept is it's kind of and I like what the Historical Association is doing with trying to find ways to create more access for people to Cedar Lake. One of the drawbacks that we've always had here is so much of the lake is inaccessible to people. And with what they're doing with bringing these sorts of activities to the community is providing an opportunity to not only look at the history of the community, but to interact with this great body of water and be a part of what people enjoy here. So that, you know, this discussion is meant to spur some ideas, spur some, hopefully a little bit of energy around, hey, how do we solve this problem? How do we provide them with the space that they need to really help promote this community, because it is a promotion of the town of Cedar Lake, and it helps all of us. So that's why we're looking for Chief Fisher and Chief.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. So, Bill, what if they put their lift on the south end of the extra slip, if you will, on the secured side? Wouldn't that be logical?
Other than the fact that other people would have the gate code to get on the secure side, which I would have an issue with, since then it would no longer be secured, and there would really be no purpose for putting a secure gate on it.
Well, right, but in the old days, we just had a rope that said private property, police and fire personnel only.
Yeah, but in the old days, we didn't let anybody on the pier at all. In the old days, we didn't let anybody on the pier at all, so if we caught anybody on the pier, we kicked them off. So now they're at the end of the
Right,
pier.
but it's just a rope, though, is all I'm saying. So I think whether it's, you know, I can absolutely swim in the water up to your side that says you don't have the gate code, you can't come in, and I'm on the pier, so.
This is exactly what we were afraid was gonna happen. Exactly what we were afraid was gonna happen. I know, I'm just saying, once we secured one side for emergency vehicles, we were afraid that others would start tying off or others would start to build. That's why it was kind of nice to have it on the outside.
But let's think about how we resolve this, because
Can we put an extra slip on the north side?
Yeah, why can't we just do that? I'd be fine with you.
I'm fine with that. Like I said, yeah, it's because I don't want to hinder you guys
Yeah.
in any way.
It wouldn't hinder us. The whole purpose of that secured side was just so that our boat, we know our boats we're watching over them, right?
Right.
And we're not letting anybody on that side of the pier, and if we are, we're getting rid of them or telling them to stay off.
And then there's no
The north side is,
responsibility.
yeah, the north side is all free for the public to use. We could easily add another slip on there. I don't know the cost offhand. I would have to check with Brian. I know the possibility of getting power out there is nearly impossible because electric and water don't really mix too well.
What about solar power? Did you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think that's being played with too. I don't know, like, these are some big batteries, so I don't know.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, you
I don't know how much solar use
sizable-
you're gonna get on.
I can tell you that the pier itself is weighted for quite a bit, so if it was a matter of having to haul the batteries down the pier, you would be able to do that on a cart. I don't know if it's a difficult issue, I don't know what size batteries we're talking about, but
I'm still trying to get our car how to learn to use an iPad.
okay.
So, breaking
Is it gonna be a
into
pontoon?
scope.
Is it gonna be a pontoon?
There's no official thing, we're still looking.
It's conceptual right
Yeah,
now.
it's conceptual.
I mean, I've seen them, you know,
I don't think it'll be a pontoon. It will be, I believe what I'm seeing is kind of a replica of the old boat that used to run out of Lassens when it was on the west side of the lake and would bring people over.
so it needs to be in deep water.
No, it'll be small.
No.
It'll-
So, yeah. just-
Six or eight people capacity, if I
Yeah,
remember right.
the one boat that we have a possible donor for is a smaller boat, 6 to 8 people. It's basically, as Julie likes to call it, a
John
golf
boat.
cart and a freaking boat.
Yeah, it's small, so I don't think it'll need depth. But
It just seems
There's
like maybe
plenty
they
on
could be
that side anyways, it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter, so.
Yeah, I mean,
We had
maybe-
boats there all weekend, so.
you know, maybe they could have a lift all the way at the north end of the seawall where they could pull all the way up to the seawall and have power
Yeah.
available.
Oh,
That would be rude.
that would be a really good
That would
idea.
be-
Because there's power right there, you know what I mean? You got electric right on behind the stage, so if you had it all the way up to the pier right there, you could have electric available.
Then you only need about a 10-foot, 12-foot section.
that's why we're having this discussion.
Yeah, I mean,
Be out of the way
main
and-
thing- Yeah, the main thing tonight is just, you know, we do have a possible donation on us, that we do not want to go and accept something if we cannot be utilized it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, then you.
I would say everybody's in agreement of putting it somewhere, wherever the best place is the best place.
Yeah, I think we need to kind of rely on our staff here to work with you guys to find that right fit with your, you know, the gentleman you're working with, Brian DeVries from Sunrise, to determine, hey, how do we make this happen? Because I think we've been pretty consistent here in supporting the initiatives that you're putting forward.
Absolutely, yep.
Because it's awesome. I mean, amazing things happening. And I'm sure that during Summerfest, there was lots of people that took notice of the museum and the improvements you've made. So
Thank you.
continue doing what you're doing. There was one other part of this discussion that I wanted to have tonight that I had with Julie was looking at this Steam Through History that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's coming fast. They've been able to raise some private donations for that insurance piece to insure that steamboat because it's very expensive. I think it was $5,000 with the initial cost, and then Julie told me that the insurance company has now added an additional $900 to it. She inquired with me that maybe we can kind of reformulate how we shared cost on the pier. And I thought about this, and this is just my idea that I came up with based on our conversation is, I haven't discussed this with her, is that maybe what needs to happen is, you know, part of that grant that they received could be then directed towards the insurance piece that's left, because I think you've raised like $2,500 of it.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Julie is definitely the grant expert. She couldn't be here tonight because she's out
Well,
of town.
yeah, she and I talked about that possibility, and since it's a public pier, right, we invested park impact fee money, it's a public improvement. Maybe we allocate a little bit more public money towards the pier, which would free up some dollars of their own to finish out that insurance piece so they can have their events.
Just so you know, the only thing that they're spending from their side is for the signage and one bench. Everything else the town's paid for, so it's not been a huge cost.
I was
on the
under the
store.
understanding that the grant was a little more substantial.
It's like $18,000.
$18,000.
But because of what we were buying, it wasn't like, they couldn't buy a section of pier, you know what I
Do
mean?
we know how much has been contributed from that grant towards the pier?
She's gonna get billed directly for the signage and for the bench from Brian, because she can't pay us.
Right, how much is that, do we know?
I don't know, I can find out from Brian tomorrow.
I guess I'm trying to figure out a way that we can
I would guess under $1,000.
help them finish this big event.
Randy, I judge you.
Order 17 grand.
We talked about the tourism money, that we got all of it. We've spent 2,000 of it so far with the farmer's market and the Summerfest. So we've got 2,700 left. We could put that money towards the steam, towards their, we could use it as tourism money towards their event.
That'd be $2,725 on top of the $2,500 they've raised, and taken the $5,225.
I have a better solution, if it's possible.
$675.
So we got $8,500 from our pier.
Now,
And I know that you wanted to use that for the lake route, but that's a difficult issue. But part of the things that I've been talking with the town manager about is we need to upgrade some cameras, because we need to put a camera on the pier full time.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be roughly in the $3,200 area, simply because of programming updates and out on the town grounds. What if we take some of that, and then you can still have that wiggle room for the other stuff?
Just a reminder that $8,500 we did receive, it was received into the general fund, but in order to spend it, you have to do an additional appropriation.
And that's why it might be better suited utilizing the impact fee money to just finish out the whole pier. And then, like Ralph said, if we transfer some either out of the tourism or the town promotion line item, which has very little have come out of it so far, so.
Yeah, I gotta see what Tim spent on the.
Can we use the impact fee money for the cameras that need to be fixed? Do it?
I don't think so.
If it's on the pier, I don't.
Yes, I'm putting a camera directly on the pier, because we don't have one right now. We have a camera that moves,
I
and it
guess I would
doesn't
leave that
spin.
to our attorney for interpretation of the law.
I don't know why we, that's
Yeah,
part of the
I
pier.
think they can use that if it's on the pier.
Yeah.
If it's on the
But
pier.
the thing that I want to figure out how to solve right now is July 26th is the first date of Steam Through History, correct?
Correct.
The insurance company, if I know anything about insurance, is going to want a binder right now. And in order to do that, they still need an additional $3,400 on top of what they've raised. And, yeah, well, actually, $2,400 because I believe the town
Yes,
did
$1,000.
pledge $1,000 already towards that, so it would be an additional $2,400, which the $2,725 that's remaining in the tourism funds would more than cover that.
And it's the most readily available.
It is readily available, and we've got cash in the bank, you know, so that's a bird in the hand there. And I want us to solve that problem here tonight to make sure that that Steam Through History goes off without a hitch. I believe that to be and, you know, aside from Summerfest, which was tremendous in drawing people to the community, this event that you're putting on is going to be another showcase.
Really expects to be sold out by Monday, and tickets go on sale Monday, and we're releasing to membership tonight, so she's thinking it's gonna be a pretty quick turnaround.
So we want to make sure that when you're selling tickets, you actually have an event
A vote.
that's insured and funded and ready to go.
yeah.
There's a dedication on July 28th, right?
Maybe.
I believe so, yep.
Hasn't been finalized yet, but I don't know.
Well, it hasn't?
No.
It is now.
It is,
She was running me through all the dates before tonight, but my position as the Historical Association, I'll just do what Julie told me. She told me to show up here tonight, so I did.
To do this.
Yeah.
Okay, if we do that, now that covers it. Now with them and a pier, Tim's idea of putting the other pier in.
The lift. It's a lift.
Okay,
not a
but,
pier.
no, we would want to put a pier going out to that.
Well, he's saying a lift in like a 10-foot section here, so that.
Okay,
Yeah.
So that's money you'd have to use with your grant funds?
Yeah.
So we have to find money somewhere from.
No, Jimmy, we're saying that you're gonna pay for the signs on your pier and that?
They're paying for the signs on our pier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're paying for the signs on our pier
Mhm.
and the benches.
One bench,
Okay, and that will still probably leave you
17 grand probably.
Yeah,
to pay for your lift and pay for the pier, and do like Tim was saying, have it up front there, and then that way you've got access to electricity.
so that $1,000 that we pledged, what fund did that come out of? Was that town promotion or was that the tourism?
That was
That was
promotion.
yours.
I thought that was town promotion,
That
because
was promotion.
we didn't have innkeepers yet.
We didn't have the money, right?
1,000, you're right, 1,000 was out of town
Okay,
promotion.
so let's solve this first problem.
Yeah, let's get this, we gotta get it done.
Instead of getting confused. So we have $2,725 left in the tourism funds. There a motion by the council to amend the agenda for consideration of the allocation of those funds. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carnahan, questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes, I think it's a great idea.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Agenda item presented now is to transfer the remainder of the tourism funds of $2,725 to the Cedar Lake Historical Association for the Steam Through History event. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera, questions or discussion? Discussion, again, tremendous projects you're working on, excellent work, and these are sorts of things that tourism money and promotion money should be invested in. Things like this, and Summerfest, and other things that really showcase our community. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, yep, that's absolutely, our goal with the project, so.
Yep. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0, and thank God the tourism money is spent.
Yeah.
One of my goals has been reached.
If I may, so can I still speak on number 8 there?
Jump in.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, I mean, just the takeaway, it sounds like, and what we need to continue our discussions out is that there is agreement that we can find a home for a vessel here on the grounds.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody here is ready to work with you
Yeah.
and find the best solution for that.
I just don't want anything coming off the side of the pier.
No.
And that makes
And that's
sense.
fine, yeah.
I don't want it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I told Julie we would have this open discussion tonight and exchange some ideas, and you know, Tim offered a really good resolution there, and it's something worth looking at and starting to get prices together and seeing what it's gonna take to do.
Absolutely.
Because again, that's a great, it's just another access opportunity for people where they don't have it right now, so. It's always been a big bone of contention in this town is that the folks that live here can't even get on the lake.
Yep.
So, now we'll be able to get a pretty cool ride around it. Yep. So,
All right. Well, I
Might
appreciate
be,
it.
might be some of
Thank
that
you.
grant money that you guys have too. I'll talk to Brian tomorrow to see what a section would cost just if you had that close up to the pier.
Yeah.
Up to the boardwalk, so.
very good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Jimmy.
Thank you.
Jimmy, can you clarify for me, there was an email sent by Julie, I don't know when it was, June 23rd, it looks like, indicating that you might be asking for some of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau money towards this boat, but you've mentioned several times, and the letter, I think, mentions this is expected to be donated to you. So,
Any funds, so there is a boat that will be donated to us.
okay.
Anything above that, there's going to be additional costs. So whatever it is that takes to get that boat operational, license, the pier. So Julie would have those lists of additional costs that we would be going out for.
So
to
there will,
make that-
it sounds like there would be a request from you for some portion of that South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau $20,000 grant.
Have we applied for that grant yet?
No, we're meeting as a committee on Thursday of this
Thursday.
week to identify projects.
Okay.
And
Do
they
you
have
think
to be
Julie could
applied
have
for by the end of
could
the
have an
year.
estimate?
So if she
But
has
that-
a project proposal, it's gonna need to be in.
By Thursday?
Yeah.
Well,
I would
not
say
by Thursday,
by
but
our
we're gonna
next
need to know
council
you're
meeting.
interested, yeah. Because I believe we have to apply for the monies by the end of this year, if not spend them by the end of this year. So that could present a problem. Because I think this boat is a next year project, isn't it?
I thought, Rick, we had to spend the money this year.
I did too, by the
I
end of
think
this
we
year.
got to spend this money this year.
That's this year.
So,
I mean, trust me, we'll get it spent this year, all right?
Yeah,
But,
just let
yes,
us know.
I will let you know, and she will have, I know she's working on an itemized list
Okay.
of what those additional expenses are.
Okay. Thank
Tell
you,
her she
Jimmy.
can't go out of town anymore. She gotta be here to answer.
I will let her know.
she works tirelessly at this.
She does,
project.
yes.
She does.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Jimmy, please relay to her that she'll be receiving
Oh, she'll
enough
be-
money to cover this,
She'll be very excited, yes.
this nonstop insurance nightmare.
She's gonna send me to town council meetings more often now.
Okay, thank you, council, for support on that as well. Town council reports, Mr. Carnahan.
Summerfest, like you said, was a huge success Friday and Saturday. Chamber Beer Garden made buku bucks, and half of that goes back to Summerfest. And lines were out at those vendors, like the ice cream place. The line went all the way back to the bingo tent. You guys did,
We had our best year since we've been going there.
all right, Mary Joan, any comments on? But you're looking for volunteers, right?
What was your, Mary Jo, what was your analysis? Was this just off the front, was this pretty well a record year? Or maybe
Yeah.
close to it?
Vendors were down because they lost wagons because of the COVID.
Right.
Mhm.
You get less vendors.
Product was hard to find.
Yeah.
A lot of people ran out of product. and
Help is hard to
don't have it.
find.
There's a rule that if you are in Lake County, you have to buy your product in Lake County. Well, Lake County doesn't have product. So there were some little hurdles, but, nothing But I think the increase in numbers was basically because people are looking for something to do. So,
I was down at, the Summerfest on Saturday, and holy smokes,
Insane.
yeah.
So was the lake.
So did you make a lot? How much money did you make?
They don't know that yet.
I don't think they won't know that for a while.
yeah, Bob said buku bucks.
Yeah, Bob said buku, so whatever that means.
They gave us,
4-0.
they gave us a report 90 days after the
Yeah.
Summerfest
You get
is
a
over.
report every year, yes.
I know that Saturday we closed Constitution at 7 o'clock because the parking lot was already full.
Well, congratulations, Mary Joan, to the Summerfest committee on doing a great job and putting on an amazing event, and it was good to see it back this year. Town council reports. I have a couple. One of them, we were talking about parks. Any update on the installation of a bathroom and a picnic shelter at Bartlett Wahlberg Park?
Well, I did have the architect that Tim and I originally reached out to finally get back to me and asked me if we were still going to be pursuing that project, and I said yes. And we'd like to meet with him to re-energize that, because we want to get that going. We want that done this year.
Yes.
We don't, yeah, so if I can't get a response real quickly, let's say by the end of this week, then I'm going to look for another architect.
Because as we invest in these things like what Jimmy brought us and what Summerfest does, and we work to promote this community, having a park like that is another showcase spot, another access point. Now that there's a pier there, I mean, we've got to finish this.
We do, yep. Yep.
Okay.
And that pier was busy
I'm sure.
all weekend.
Was it?
Yeah, people used the crap out of it.
Yeah, lots of people swimming in the lake, and I mean, it's really, it's.
I think from a liability standpoint, we should have just no diving signs on both new piers.
We're working on it. They should be in this week.
Thanks, Chief.
That's what.
Another thing, obviously, is the war zone-like fireworks that seem to be nonstop. What can we do? I mean, are our hands just tied? Is there anything we can do legally, or are we just like, are we fighting a losing battle, pushing a rope?
Unfortunately, you're fighting a losing battle pushing a rope, because the fireworks sales are tremendous in Indiana. Indiana has a statute that specifically states when fireworks can be utilized. They also have to be specific fireworks, though. They can't be illegal fireworks. And the problem that we run into is either by the time we get there, they're already done, or they've hidden all the 4-inch mortars that they were shooting off, and we can't find them. And so the Fourth Amendment protects us from just walking in their house and taking it from them. So I sympathize. I understand. But everything's all over the ground. We don't have anything to show what the amount of grainage was on the firework when we get there. So it's difficult for us to do that. Obviously, the display at the end of our display at the north end of the lake was not legal, nor was it permitted, and we're going to have a discussion with that gentleman.
That was a very dangerous show that was put on,
So
due to the fall.
we're going to have a discussion.
The fallout, the buildings around.
We're going to have a
You
discussion
can't
with
have
that
that
gentleman. So,
Yeah, and just every year, this seems to get worse and worse and worse with illegal fireworks. Like, I had some neighbors that were blowing off bottle rockets and little ground stuff that you buy at the corner store. It's not that big of a deal, you know. That's the kind of stuff that.
they sell 3-inch mortars at the corner store, which are legal because of their grainage. They're under the 2.4, right?
But then you go a few houses down and they're launching things that make the whole house shake.
If it shakes your house, it's illegal.
Yes.
And we do not have enough
Pretty obvious.
police officers to go all over the town.
You have no idea how much we were doing this week.
It's happening everywhere.
It goes 8,
I mean, you could sit on the lake and see how many people were lighting
Residents
fireworks.
have contacted me, and I told them I'd bring it up, and, you know, people get more and more frustrated all the time that maybe our ordinance isn't good enough, and I tell people that we can make as many laws as we want. The sheer volume of this
It's insane.
is very difficult, and the only way to really rein this in would be for the state of Indiana to take a little harder step on this, and.
Well, they would have to do what Illinois did, is make them illegal to possess in that period. And that's why people from Illinois came to Indiana to buy them.
Yeah, and
Because
they
they
still
couldn't
couldn't
even
off
get-
in Illinois, too.
Yeah.
There's too much money to be made on them.
Yep, and that's one reason why they probably won't change the law.
And you know what, it goes back to supporting, it's the fire academies.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up was, we had some discussion here about noxious growth in these developer lots.
Yes,
these
sir.
Vacant lots. And I've reviewed the code the code citation. Dave, this may be a question for you too. Is there an opportunity here to maybe tighten up that regulation a little bit as it relates to, because as Cedar Lake continues to grow, we're going to have more of these lots purchased, and some may not be developed for several years, and it's still no excuse. For example, we have a beautiful subdivision being built across from Hanover. Just to the east of O'Reilly Auto Parts, there's a vacant lot that's part of that development that is just overgrown with weeds. Yet it's a part of the development, it might not be 150 feet from an inhabited lot, but it's still not right for the citizens of this community who are
We
written
write
tickets.
We write those lots.
Yeah, that lot's
Yeah.
subject to enforcement.
Yeah, we write those lots. We
Okay.
write every developer. We wrote them in Lindsway, we wrote them in Centennial. Matter of fact, I need to speak with Michelle, because it turns out there's like a 30-foot squash today that we found out that's right behind Ledgestone, that's not connected to Rose Garden, and it goes to the north and then back to Parrish. I don't know if it was a waterway, but it's all overgrown, and we believe Schillings owns it, but we're not sure. So we absolutely write
But
those.
looking at like some of these larger lots that are going to be developed within town, you know, we talked about South Shore Golf Course, and there's several other around town that I think we need to consider maybe tightening up that regulation a little bit to create more frequent maintenance and a larger area of maintenance, just as a way to be fair with our citizens who we require for certain upkeep of their properties. That's just something I wanted to kind of put in front of the council, so you think about it. I'd like to move this discussion forward, maybe do a review of our ordinance, because reading that town code, it's pretty old. I think it was 1993 that one was adopted.
93, I think.
Yeah. So it might be time to review that as we're continuing to grow, and look at maybe putting a little more teeth into that to be a little more fair to all the people here that have to look at that, but not only look at it, but the mosquitoes and other things that come from overgrown properties.
I'm on board with that, Mr. President. I would say that if anybody does have an issue with overgrown, please let us know. It's not that we're not ignoring them, we're just busy. So, and our code enforcement's not around anymore, so we're having to do it ourselves. So we will gladly go look at them. I send my officers probably on a daily basis to look at ordinance violations. So.
Yeah, that one east of O'Reilly was brought to me, and I drove by it, and I said, by God, that is quite overgrown.
I'll have them look at it tomorrow.
Holy smokes. But I appreciate it, Chief, thank you. That was all
Hey,
I...
Mr. Yeah, Randy,
Go ahead,
I
John.
wanted to go back to the fireworks issue again. And so essentially, I mean, if you think about the discussion we had, and if all these other communities are having these same discussions, I mean, the first three words, I think, of the Constitution are "we the people," right? So just for us to sit here and say, hey, the state's making too much money, I think is wrong. I think we as a town should solicit other police and fire departments, at least from our surrounding communities, and draft it by one of our town managers, one of our mayors, and band together and send a clear message downstate that we think it's, you know, you shouldn't put money over people's hands, eyes, and ears. You know, so it's just not good sense.
Yeah,
We need to stop
I'm definitely not someone...
the approach we're taking as a state makes no sense.
I agree with you, John. There needs to be something done here that gives people a little bit of a expectation of safety and peace. Not that we don't want folks to celebrate the holiday, because I love watching the fireworks shows at Summerfest, and they're done professionally, and they're licensed and permitted and safe. But some of the stuff going on in neighborhoods is just a gigantic accident and fatalities waiting to happen. And it can happen to
It is, and we
anyone.
shouldn't have to use money, we shouldn't have to use taxpayer money to sue our own government to stop something that is completely wrong. Maybe, Mr. Austin, what would your approach be? Should we ask Rick in his spare time to draft a letter to all the cities and mayors and towns around and try to get some buy-in? Or do we do something via, AIM downstate? I mean,
Rick is looking through his calendar, and I think he didn't find any spare time.
John,
Every single community around us burned a house or a business building this weekend, including us, because of fireworks. And if you lost $200,000 in damage in your home because of fireworks. And
devastating.
those people, if their smoke detector didn't go off, they would be gone. They even told us that. So, it's not worth it at all.
Dave, you were asked a question by John.
John, there are strength in numbers, and Rick working on a collaboration of joining neighboring communities with our town, put some numbers together and can cause a unified approach to be made. This is a universal problem as you've identified, and strength in numbers can mean something downstate.
yeah, and I think it's easy to get bipartisanship from a state level on this subject matter.
I'm not certain I agree with you about that.
Yeah, it's just,
We're back to the money item.
this is one of these things that will be difficult to even get into a committee, much less get out of a committee onto the floor.
Yeah, perhaps, but we should at least make an attempt.
Well, you look back to when we had the Indiana optional income tax. The rest of our legislators tried to get something passed, and they couldn't get it passed because the rest of the state didn't want to go along with it. And I think the same thing will happen here.
I think it's gonna be difficult too, because Indiana recently changed the statute to allow for fireworks during that 9-day period. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago they changed it,
Yeah, maybe
something,
5.
maybe 10.
Yeah.
So Indiana did constrict it down to certain times of the year, certain hours of the day, but you're talking about removing fireworks, and it's gonna be hard to come by.
The bigger problem to me is the shipment and sales of, and the importation, because they're importing these illegal fireworks.
Yep,
Most of this stuff is made in China.
yep.
99% of it. And I'd say, isn't it ironic, we're shooting off Chinese gunpowder to celebrate American independence? I mean, what's wrong with us? It doesn't make any sense to me. But I will definitely speak with our legislators about this to see if there's any energy that we could put into this, what they would need to hear from us as a kind of a larger community to even get some legs under this, because it will be a difficult process to dive into this one. But I'd be willing to take that challenge and see if there's any movement we could get.
Kids spend a lot of money
Yeah,
on
I
lobby every year.
Yeah, that would be great if
Lot of
you would do that, Randy, because,
Yeah,
I mean, not to mention the hazard of to houses and fires and people's, limbs. A lot of people have pets that freak out for a 10-day period. We have a lot of veterans that have returned from Desert Storm and other wars recently, and there's PTSD out there, and it's a real, this is a real thing.
yeah, I agree with you, John. There's got to be a common sense way to solve a problem somewhere.
I got pictures on my phone that I could show you that you would
Yeah,
probably
you sent
never
us a
touch
picture of that one house that was burned.
I'm talking about damage to people's bodies.
Oh, I can only imagine.
You would never even touch another fireworks if you saw the pictures we have.
Yeah, the NHL goalie that was killed from a giant mortar. I mean, those are examples of a life that didn't need to be lost. A 24-year-old young man with a professional career in hockey is gone. So, I mean, we've got to figure something out from a safety standpoint here.
There was no sparkler. That's right.
Any other council reports? Town attorney?
No report.
Clerk treasurer?
My goal before the end of this month, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, is to connect with Corby and get a budget calendar put together.
Nice.
That way we can start discussing with individual departments. Council Affairs can come together, start discussing what we want to see for 2022, because
Great.
it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, we're right around the corner. Thank you. Town Manager,
Not at this time, Mr. President.
Director of Operations,
I have nothing either, thank you.
Police Department,
Nothing at this time, Mr. President.
thank you to you and your officers and reserves that were out there. This holiday weekend, wonderful job.
Thank you.
Community, keep the community safe. Fire Department,
Yeah, I would just like to say thanks on behalf of the department for the raises and increases for our folks. You don't know how much that's actually appreciated. And, you know, I stand up here and I complain and cry and try to get everything we possibly can to make our service and to our community better. And sometimes we forget that it's important to say thank you. So on behalf of the fire department, I would like to thank the town council, the clerk treasurer, town manager, public works, the police department, the attorney for all being part of that and working together as a group. So with that, I'd like to pass out an appreciation certificate from the fire department on our behalf.
did you think that this, you definitely thought this was gonna pass then?
I'm gonna throw all the garbage if it did.
He was gonna have a nice bonfire.
So we walk out with all these numbers in the garbage and it was come back.
Shoot some fireworks. Yeah.
Thank you.
I thought maybe you're skipping me on purpose, because I'm
Yeah,
dangerous.
see, here's the
I was disappointed you did that.
When are we gonna get Randy?
Thanks, everybody, for your help.
What's happening?
Oh, personalized, Colleen.
Did I get one?
Yeah, it's with the council, they'll bring it, I'll send it to you.
This is Bob.
Thank you.
Ralph, this is you.
This is Julie.
John Foreman, I accept this on John's behalf.
Yeah.
You may, sure.
I think it's right here.
Here, this is Bob's right here.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, Chief, thank you
You're
for
welcome.
the nice certificate.
Yeah, thank you.
And to the gentlemen who are in the back, you and your teammates that were out working your butts off this holiday weekend, thank you for what you do too.
Thank you.
And keeping us safe like Chief Fisher's people did as well. So the effort's appreciated. It's always hard this time of year because I know a lot of you want to do the same things that others are doing and enjoying the holidays. So stepping up is appreciated. Written communication, anything, Rick?
No, Mr. President.
Open public comment?
On behalf of Summerfest, I want to thank everyone. It was a big team that put everything off. A lot of surprises. Like I said, the numbers were very high, so it's something we had to adjust to. I was going to stand up here and try to convince you to let me work on some picnic tables, but I think $20,000 could come up with some picnic tables. With upcoming events such as this weekend, the fire department, farmers market, there's a great need for picnic tables. There's a need for ADA picnic tables. There's no place for anyone with a disability in a wheelchair to sit. I mean, they can sit in their chair, but they have no place to eat off of. I would hope that maybe we could look at that as a very serious goal for some of those funds. So I will take my proposal of trying to make this happen, and I'll pass it to the town manager.
He found a bunch of spots in his calendar, so you're okay.
Yeah. And then I asked before, but I don't remember the answer, so I'm hoping you can enlighten me. The Bartlett plan, the original one, the restroom was in the center. There was discussion to move it either, north or south because of supervision for parents, kids, and just, and I was just wondering, or not south, north, east or west. Was that plan changed for that, because it needs to be looked at. It was going to be plotted right in the middle.
No, this was gonna be towards the north side, right, Tim? The washroom
The bathroom,
facility at
it
Bartlett?
would go to one side or the other side of the park.
Yeah.
I know we discussed it years ago, so I just.
To the west.
To the west, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, because I thought we brought that up.
That makes a heck of a lot more sense.
Yeah, but I just didn't know if that ever like.
Well, there's,
So thank you very much for all your time.
Sewer tap right there too on the west
Well, that's what
side.
when I brought it up
Yeah.
originally, I said that, but I didn't, like, I've been years, but I kind of forgot. So, but once again, I want to thank everyone for all their time and service to this. I think we did put up a good, great product, lots of reviews on Facebook, and I totally agree with Todd. It'll be the second generation. I've always said fireworks should be professionals, because your dad and I went round and round, but that's our common goal, is to keep people safe. And I'd rather have thousands of people down here not lighting them off
Right,
than having them at home, because it would have been worse.
totally agree.
That's why I will not sign a permit that's not done on the way.
Yeah, okay.
Just because of the liability. It's just, what happened over this weekend. It's a perfect example. If we would have signed a permit for a subdivision to do that, and somebody's house burned down,
Guess what?
I wanted to
it's the
mention,
safest way to do it. It's always been. Summerfest puts on a great show. If that's not good enough for you, I guess you're gonna take the chance, I guess.
I wanted to mention something on the record. Part of our contract with Hanover Township with this consideration of the fees is we have a duty to report to the trustee before that ordinance is adopted. So we've directed the drafting, so I will report to Kevin that that is what we're drafting and we're considering. It's not for them to say yes or no to it, but just as part of them being a partner to report that to them.
You're not out of contract.
What's that?
You're not out of contract, so you action initiated tonight.
No, but part of that contract also included that communication
Right.
piece. I didn't want to leave that off the record. Any other public comment? Third call for public comment. Public comments closed. The next council meeting will be Tuesday, July 20 at, it's 2021, not 2020, at 7 p.m. That will be preceded by a utility board meeting at 6:30. Everyone have a good and safe night. This meeting's adjourned.